The views and opinions of the King Life podcast do not reflect the views and opinions of WWSU Radio, Wright State University, nor their entities.
Hello, people, and welcome to the 13th edition of the King Life Podcast with yours truly, Josiah Willis, alongside my co-host and good friend, Anthony Lombardo.
Hey, guys.
Today, we will discuss our acting experiences and how we go about perfecting each other's craft. Hey, Anthony, bro, what have you seen lately?
Good question. Well, we just watched Black Adam recently, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, what'd you think of that?
I thought the movie was really good. I know you and Colin, though, were pretty
alright.
critical.
I wouldn't call myself so critical. I just, I like that one character. I think we might have talked about this in actually the Thanksgiving episode. Which,
Yeah.
That one's going to be an actual video for y'all on YouTube. But
Yes, sir.
it'll probably come out in the same time. But what'd you think of that one guy, the older dude?
Was he like something to do with like having visions? And
He was supposed to be
telling
like a
the future?
god or something, right?
I don't know if he was God or something, but
Well, a god.
a
you know
God,
what I'm
right?
saying.
In terms of superhero
Uh-huh,
abilities, but
yeah.
maybe yeah, that was portrayed by Pierce Brosnan. I forget the name of his character, but I thought he did a fantastic job
Yeah.
portraying his role.
I thought so
in the
too.
film.
I
You
thought
know what
he
I
was
mean?
pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think he was a lot cooler than all the other superheroes he was
including
working
Black Adam himself.
with.
I like Dwayne Johnson was. He was
Black Adam has a little bit of immortality complex.
Bro, he was a gangster, bro.
I
Yeah,
thought,
he does. He does have an immortality complex for sure.
Yeah, I thought the character was fun. It's just he's a little OP. That's all. But besides that,
What were some of the things that you did not like about the film? Like in terms of, because are you positive about the film, negative, or mixed?
I liked it. It was just certain things, like obviously it was a DC movie, right?
Yes.
Some of the story could have, I think it could have had a little more, in my opinion.
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
But it's a superhero movie. What can you
Right.
expect? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. They could have told a better job of how he got his powers, because it was said that he got his powers from like different superheroes around DC. But then again, you didn't know for sure until like when I read about the film after. I read the reports about why he is powerful and why he has the superhero abilities that he has and whatnot. They were given to him by other people who had those superhero abilities.
Yeah.
They could have just had more in Black Adam, but what can you do? It's a movie. It's Hollywood.
I thought it was good for what it was.
Yeah.
People who went there, they were obviously coming there to watch a superhero movie, not think about it too much, and I respect that.
So I thought about this
Mm.
earlier in the day before we saw Black Adams at the movie theaters. I thought about how even prior to when Colin had got lost, when he was driving around the parking lot,
Yeah.
he was stuck in a maze. It was hilarious. But
Right.
you remember that?
You want
yeah.
to talk about that?
We could, but I was thinking about getting to Red Robin's first.
Okay.
Um,
The story was just that we got into a never-ending parking lot and couldn't find our way out. But yeah.
it was weird. It was like, bro, what? And Colin was like, he said, what? What am I going through? Blah, blah, blah.
It was in the
So,
middle of nowhere too. There's
Yeah.
no way it connected to any of the buildings that were around
nowhere,
us.
bro.
Yeah.
But Red Robin's honestly was pretty solid. I wasn't now Red Robin's. If y'all are hearing this, and we're not sponsored by the way, but
Yeah. I
Y'all-
wish.
right, we get paid.
Yeah,
I
go
know,
ahead.
you know what I'm saying. Get
Uh-huh.
paid some cheese, right? Chip
Mhm.
mozzarella. But Red Robin's, their burgers. I think me and you both agree, and I think we said that the review for those burgers are a bit mid.
Underwhelming compared to what we could have gotten there.
Yeah. But you enjoyed the cinnamon thing. I forget what that thing was
Oh,
in the
God,
roll.
I had a tower. It was like, how many calories? What was it? Like 2,000 or something?
Right.
And
yeah.
I had the whole thing pretty much.
Oh my gosh! And they had a chocolate and the caramel. You was so in love with the caramel. You had
I
to
like
get
the
another
I
caramel.
got another. Yeah.
He got another caramel, bro. I'm telling you, man.
I spent a decent amount at Red Robin
Yep.
just for. And the thing was, is that they weren't even like the best thing ever.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They were good, but it was like I really did all that to myself. That's
Their seasoning was pretty good.
the seasoning. I like the seasoning.
Yeah, I got the seasoning with that, and I put it with the fries. And I think we had garlic fries or something like that.
You had garlic fries. I had regular fries.
Right. That's what I got with my order.
The garlic fries good.
They're pretty good. I like the garlic fries.
Have a food review.
Yeah.
Thing. That'd be
do a
fun.
full review. You know what I'm saying? There from that small talk. Well, I guess we can do that.
Small talk.
That small talk.
Yeah.
I was thinking to you guys also. This might be the last we record for the remainder of 2022. We will resume back to position, come January 2023.
Yep, we're going into exam week like next week, and so we got to make sure we're all good for that, and then we'll be heading up to our families and all that type of jazz.
Yeah.
So the topic for today's episode was actually going to be stories about acting that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any off the top of your head that we could talk about?
Yeah, I was thinking about learning lessons when it comes to acting. I remember my first year here at Wright State University, the college me and you both attend.
Yeah.
My freshman year. So
I almost forgot. Yeah.
Right. In my freshman year, I had a teacher that taught me the importance of understanding how to present yourself in acting.
You mean Alan Bomar?
Not Alan Bomar.
Not
this
Alan
is way
Bomar.
before Alan Bomar, as a matter of fact, honestly. It was acting aesthetics. I was taught acting aesthetics my freshman year in 2019. So in 2019, my teacher told me that most great actors or actresses typically do this. Bring half of who you are, your real life, into whatever character you present, and then bring the other half of the character you're playing pretend. And when you merge them, that's when you really show off your capabilities a lot.
Are you sure that wasn't Alan Bomar?
Was not Alan Bomar, believe it or not.
Who was it?
I forget, but I remember he was a white guy, great white guy. You know what I'm saying? Love him.
Okay.
And he was bald-headed. And one time while I was doing an improv and my face was covered in a mask, he gave me the middle finger. But that's another story. Good guy. Oh yeah, it was just he just did something because he was, I don't know, the guy was ignorant. But great guy nonetheless.
Okay.
I love him. And everyone in the class was just really like talented. You got so many different type of people who like everyone was just equal being themselves. And it was such a diverse class that you would go, man, anyone has strengths and weaknesses here, but they're all built to succeed thoroughly.
Okay, cool. I feel like you were gonna talk about Alan Bomar.
Yeah, I was going to, but I wanted to get back. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Learn lessons in terms of getting better as an actor and what you should apply as an actor
Fair enough.
going forward.
I've been an actor for a decent amount of time. I was in. I think I might have talked about this in Artistic Expression. I don't remember.
Yeah,
Episode 2, yeah.
Yep.
But I was in since high school, and I was in a decent amount of plays. I didn't act in all of them. I was in crew for a bunch of them, but I just have a lot of good experiences and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I was crew for like our school put on Beauty and the Beast, and that was a pretty awesome
Nice.
production because they actually went like full on with the production value and stuff.
Okay.
They spent a little bit of money on that. Like they had the Gaston actually fall off a thing when fighting the Beast, and he actually fell into like this mat to help cushion the fall and stuff. It was
That's
pretty
dope. That's dope. How do you remember how many feet it may have been up for him to fall?
cool. It was a bit.
Okay.
It was
I
like
got you.
it was like a he had to fall backwards, and it was a height where it's like a little spooky to fall backwards.
Sheesh.
So
Was he safe? Was he like okay
he
afterwards?
was
No
fine.
injuries?
He was
Okay.
fine because he had a big mat.
cool.
It was like the type of thing a gymnast would land on
Cool.
or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So
So you have done musicals in the past. You to talk to me about musicals. He's the reason why you guys. Not only did he put a gun to my head for me to do a podcast. He's
as
the
I
reason.
often do.
Right. And he's the reason why we did reaction towards a musical on my YouTube channel, which is under my name, Josiah Willis.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the song was actually really good. Had me thinking a lot, though. I will admit. It had me.
Crazy Town.
Yeah, Crazy Town by
I've
Ryan.
been listening to a bunch of other musicals and stuff.
Yeah.
God, what have I been listening to recently? I don't remember, but keep
Yeah.
on going.
But my point I want to get at is having done musicals for yourself, bro. What was the best musical you performed, but the worst musical you ever did?
Performed. I've
Yes.
only so here's the thing. I've technically been in 3, but I've only performed in 2.
Cool.
I crewed for Beauty and the Beast, and I've seen a lot of musicals, but myself, I haven't done a whole lot.
Mm.
And when I did my musicals, it was during COVID and stuff, so it was a little more, kind of shaped by that. So
2020 supervision, bro. We all was seeing what was going on in 2020,
Yeah.
man. Arguably
will-
one of the worst years in the history of
yeah,
human existence,
Just-
I guess.
for us,
For us, I don't think it's the worst year for me, but people have largely talked about that, being one of the worst
100%.
years. Go ahead.
I there was this. I've had a few shows happen in COVID.
Mhm.
I did. So we had a Broadway review, which, in case you guys don't know, it's like a collection of Broadway songs all slammed together. It didn't have any story or whatever. It was just a bunch of Broadway songs done by a bunch of different individuals and all that stuff. That way it
Nice.
could be COVID safe and yada yada.
Yeah.
And then we did one the next year, but this one had a overarching story that was kind of created by the director, by the order of the songs and by how the songs sort of fit together. And the idea was like, it's a bit, he didn't want us to talk about it, but it's later, so whatever. The idea was that it was actually kind of the feeling of what quarantine was and stuff. That was the story, was how
Yeah.
it felt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought it was pretty cool. I actually got a solo for that, and
Okay.
it was really neat. My parents liked that a lot. So
That's dope,
Yeah.
bro. That's dope. Do you have a worse experience when it comes to performing a musical, or have all your musicals gone great? Like perfect.
I have
Perfecto.
terrible experiences when it comes to singing, but not necessarily for musicals.
Was it your octave or a high note that you couldn't sing right?
So for a long time, I just couldn't sing.
Okay.
I tried to sing.
Can you do opera?
I tried to perform in front of people and stuff. I was just not a good singer. Just period. And that is a different level of embarrassment. That just being in front of people,
Yeah.
especially if they are like very seasoned at what they do, and just failing pretty badly, that's like you want to die. But yeah,
Take my life, take my soul.
please.
I'm up in the air
Yeah.
as I go
What
far,
about you?
far away.
Have you got many experiences in being in public, like embarrassments or anything?
So, have I gone through any experiences? I have a musical experience. I do want. I know
Really?
we're talking about acting here, but I kind of like want to talk about this because it does go about your talent and learning lessons from it, and it actually taught me the importance of being prepared and sometimes letting go of nerves. But that's only because it was at the last minute. Now, I have a funny story. You talk about your singing, right?
Sure.
Okay. So, boy, I went to Wynwood High School. That's where I graduated from.
Uh-huh.
In my freshman year, they were hosting a talent show. I think in the second semester, I believe the month was February, and a lot of my friends were getting into trying to go about talent show. Now, one of my friends, he ended up making to it. It was his last year, which was dope. He did a Michael Jackson performance where he was dancing. It was great. But for me, I came in there wanting to sing The Weeknd. Now, and so to familiarize yourself, me and you did go see Uncut Gems. Well, we watched Uncut Gems
Yeah.
at my dorm, of
I
course.
like that movie a lot.
Great film.
Sad.
Shout out to Adam Sandler.
It was sad.
It was sad.
But,
Towards the
yeah.
end, like, bro, I was like, he's about to get away with the money, blah, blah, blah. Like, him and his girl's going to do good. and it's like,
yeah.
yeah, we don't want to fully recap. But anyways, so I remember I wanted to do The Weeknd's Earned It. I want to perform it. And I had listened to the song a lot, channel my voice into him, all that sort of stuff. I mean, pause when I say channel my voice into him. But I remember doing, because I couldn't fully memorize it in time, I chose to do another Weeknd song, and I believe the song was Can't Feel My Face. Now, both songs are from the album Beauty Behind the Madness, which is his album in 2015, I think. Anyways, I get to the stage, and I see 3 judges, and that stage was huge. For those that perform in terms of like doing music and like comedy, Trust me, I had never been on a stage like that before, and it was so big that I'm like, wow, this is a lot. Bro, the song plays. I remember the lyrics, but I'm standing in one spot doing this. I can't feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it. And this song's going and it's going and whatever have you.
Yeah.
And I'm standing in one spot the whole entire time. No dancing, no movements, no facial expressions, just utter like stoic. Like I'm just standing there and not looking really well by the end of it. So by the time it was over, no one clapped but the person that played the song instrumental for me. I'm not quite sure she felt bad, but she was like, good job, you did a good job. And afterwards, man, I felt so deflated. I left out that high school, walked back home, just real upsetting. And I was like, man, somebody's going to feel bad for me and blah, blah, blah. And there was a lot of different things going around that time, so it really hurt my feelings. Speaking of which, do you have any stories that you can relate to that, bro?
Yeah, I remember there was this one girl I liked a lot during like my freshman year of high school, and at this time I was not a good singer, and but I kept trying to do this a cappella thing for whatever reason, and she was doing it too, and I remember incidentally she was there with her boyfriend, but we ignore that.
Sure.
But I liked her a lot, so I was kind of like, whatever. Didn't like it, but whatever.
Give me your number, girl.
Not quite.
I'm gonna be a player.
But yeah, we went over and they were having the auditions, and then everyone was in lines of like soprano, alto, tenor, and bass to hear how
different notes.
Yeah, it was basically samples to hear how people sounded and how people mixed and made sure the volume was all right and all that stuff. And I went up there, and it was not good.
Oh no.
I was so bad. And then here's the thing. She laughed at me. She was laughing at me, man. And it's like,
she didn't care.
Bruh, I just felt so bad. I was like hanging my head and just went to the back of the line, just wanted to escape.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah. I'm telling you. But it's funny because even with my embarrassing weekend story of standing in one spot, no dancing, no movements, just standing in one spot talking about I can feel my face when I'm
It's one thing when it's like teachers and like maybe people you don't care so much about. Man. That's embarrassing, but it's just sad when it's someone that you're like wanting to impress or something.
And I don't even claim to be the greatest singer, but I love to like work on like getting better as a harmonizer, you know what I'm saying? Like when I do like certain rap songs, like when I record them eventually. But in terms of like learning about acting, it's a lot to learn about acting. There's things that you have to go into acting from a certain criteria that you're taught, you know, as you go along the way. And one of my favorite things about acting is learning about improvisation. I love improv. I love improv so much, man.
Improv, FYI, is basically how would you describe improv?
How about you go for it? I would say something to do with free will, but maybe that's probably a stretch.
So basically, improv is where you're coming off the top of your head. It's basically theater, but you didn't rehearse and you don't have lines.
No.
You have to come up with it. You have to, basically all you're given is maybe a scene or maybe some game where you have to switch in and out people or whatever. But it's mostly, the people that are participating in it are the ones that are making the story.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Do you have a funny improv story, by the way?
I don't remember it too well, but I remember I think it was my sophomore year. Mm-hmm. We were doing improv stuff, and I kept being this this guy who was very weird. So I went with a person who apparently was in a hospital, and they got hospitalized, and it was supposed to be like a very serious situation, but the person who was hospitalized had basically no idea why he was in there, and it was kind of goofy because he was trying to ask the doctor like, what are you guys talking about? He was like, yeah, you're gonna have to pay so much money for this and that. I was like, what?
Awkward situation.
And then I just kept being in there, and I remember one of the things I did was I was kind of like creeping in, and I creeped up to the guy, and the doctor's like, who are you? I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, and the guy, he was acting like he didn't know who I was either, but it turns out he had amnesia. And
That's
I was
crazy.
like, well, he's my boyfriend. And it was like, it was a pretty funny thing. But yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. So I think the funniest improv story I can tell is honestly.
Wait.
Yeah.
One
go
more
ahead.
thing for my
Continue.
story.
Yes.
Towards the end, the guy, like I think he got hit in the head again or something, and then it made him have like a French accent and talk in French now.
Bonjour.
And then he was told what the medical bills, and he was like, "Mamma mia," or whatever. And then I was like, okay, we're gonna head out now,
bro.
I remember saying something at some point about like French kissing in the car.
Yes.
when we get back or whatever. But
Bro,
whatever.
That's hilarious, man. So I'm telling you. So here's the thing. Okay. In improv, you're not trying to keep in mind for those that go about doing acting, you're not coming into improv looking to make someone laugh. That's not the goal. That's not necessarily the goal about going for like when you do pursue acting. Stop trying to force funny and just make it come natural to you. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing that happens very typically in improv is that people think it's supposed to be funny. It doesn't have to be.
It's not comedy, bro.
It's a story. It doesn't have to be comedy.
No,
it can be. It's very funny improv.
It can be.
But it not all the time. It can typically be funny.
So I was thinking about this. The funniest improv I've ever done in my life with you, or more so in general, because I've never done this in class with Alan Bomar Jones or my other teacher. Well, I probably have, but I can't remember. It's a long time ago.
Sure.
It's in 2022 now. The funniest improv we've done together, and we have done like 3 improvs, right? I believe.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Josiah kept asking me to do improv with him, and I was like, all right.
He was like, whatever, bro. Okay, cool. And so we did an improv about gang territory.
Right.
And so I was like, bro, where's your homies at, bro? We finna come at you and we gonna rob you and kill you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Where's your essays, Anthony, man? We gonna do this, bro. Where you at, man? Because I heard you beat up some of my guys, and we looking for retaliation and revenge. We coming around, and we going to beat the crap out of you. And Anthony, you going down for real, bro. You going down for real. So that's kind of like how the improv was. And then Anthony is just like, what are you talking about? I have no issues with you guys.
We do
this, and who are you? Like, what's your name? And I'm like, my name is this, and blah, blah, blah. And so it was so funny to me because I'm not street by no means, bro. You come around and see me, Josiah does not look street. I'm telling you, bro. I don't even wear street clothes. Yes, I got a little swag. Don't get twisted. I'm black, okay? Because I got some swag. But at the same time, like, I'm not coming out dressing looking like a thug or a gangster, or I got tattoos and you got teardrops from my face. But no offense. I ain't trying to push the envelope. I'm just saying that's not who I am. You feel me? So
it is fun to explore characters that are not necessarily you.
Yes.
Although I will say explore characters. It's more like, trying to be someone else or taking out the part of you that would be someone else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's hard to communicate, but like, can you expound on what I'm saying?
I do, in the sense that for me, so growing up, I'm gonna just say this very briefly. I'm not going to go about my full life story and have people like sympathize with me.
Sure.
But I was going to say, but growing up for me, I want to say I was more, but I would probably consider myself to be an outcast. I didn't ever always fit in, right? With I pretty much like anything. And so coming up, I always saw certain people with certain stereotypes and what they were. You got the Josh, you got the athletes, you got the ladies' men, you got the ones that who are good at being, comedic. You got the ones who are known for doing magic, surprising the crap out of you. You feel what I'm saying? So for me, I took pieces of, if I want to be street or try to like, portray someone who is in the gang or be a leader in the gang and cite out initiations, I guess, I gotta channel what I probably have seen in my own experience but also, however the writer writes my character, I'm gonna go right here and just try to act out what is being written, scripted. Mhm.
Yeah, and when it comes to like acting and stuff,
Mhm.
a lot of it's very much observation
Yeah.
because you have to be. So here's some things. I'm by no means going to claim that I'm, the answer to all your problems to acting and stuff. But when it comes to acting, you want to be self-aware.
Yeah.
If you can, like, try to think of yourself from an outside perspective.
Mhm.
And when I say think, I mean like imagine, like picture in your mind what you want to look like.
Yeah.
And then when you're practicing and stuff, look at a mirror. Look at
Yeah.
what you actually look like compared to
Yeah.
what you are perceiving yourself to
Yeah.
look like, and think about what what image you have of your character and what they should look like.
You're able to find little nuances because of that. It's like daydreaming. You ever
Daydreaming?
yeah, if you imagine something like, what's going on in your current day, if you daydream about the future or you daydream about a certain situation you want to be in, you can imagine yourself playing off of that scenario. So like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I can understand that because
Yeah.
it's all about. It is a lot about. Well, okay, depends on what theories you're working with,
Sure.
obviously. But a lot of them can depend on like your imagination and the ability to have
Yeah.
a good one. Then again, if you use Meisner or whatever, that's more
Right,
about like
right.
being in the
That's true.
moment and yada yada, which is all very important. I'd like to think that different theories are situational.
Yeah. It's like
When you
channeling
look
your
into them, so.
it's like channeling your creativity based on nostalgia. What you have seen before, what you have seen on TV,
Well,
movies can be
I'd say memory, not necessarily nostalgia, especially for maybe some of the darker moments that you have to take out.
true, 100% true. But also too, it just based off of your own past experiences. It ain't gotta be so much of what you've seen. It could be just so much of what you see. Like, if we want to take it out from the entertainment aspect of like not watching movies or TV shows, it could be something that you have seen from your parents, from your brothers, from your sisters, like just
Yeah.
family members, like channeling like how their personalities are. You want to like, craft that into your acting. Of course, that can vary though at times when it comes to like an idea of what an actor really is versus a personality. Sometimes people look at Adam Sandler as more of a personality because he's known for being part of the same character in every film or a comedy approach. However,
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems.
That's a good test. I don't know what to say.
I don't
for
know-
that. I don't know what that word is.
How you can go as far as to question his acting abilities now, and then Hustle, and then I think about movies like Click. Even though it was
Yeah.
still silly, but it had a great storyline. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And towards the end of it, you were like, man, I'm glad he got back to being himself again, and it may have felt
Keep
depressing at
spoiling
times,
movies.
huh?
You keep spoiling movies.
Well, I was getting like a little hint. I didn't spoil anything,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
bro, it came out in 06. It's not about spoilers no more.
Okay.
We're in 2022. It's been roughly 15, 16 years ago, I think.
Well, say that to the people you spoiled it for. All right.
For those that haven't seen Click.
Yeah.
When taking Alan Bomar Jones, Anthony, do you remember going through any particular extreme lengths to prepare for a monologue?
Okay. So when I was working with Alan Bomar Jones for the first time, I had said, this sounds a little unrelated, but it comes back to it.
Mm-hmm.
He had asked everyone, why are you taking this class, whatever. I said, I don't remember what the question was, but I said I was pretty serious about acting. And later on, Alan had questioned me on that, and I hadn't taken too much time to prepare. I was kind of just working off of working memory. I didn't really try to memorize too much, aside from in rehearsal or whatever. And it was for the first monologue we were doing, and he asked me, he said, you told me you were serious about acting. Like, are you, do you think you should even be taking or trying to go for the acting degree if you're not going to put it in the time and effort? And that actually set something off in me.
But wasn't it over a monologue that you had did?
It was over the first monologue.
Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't have it memorized.
It was a dramatic monologue, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, well, excuse me. But I remember that had sort of set something off in me. Not that I was mad, but I was like, you know what, I can do better.
I
And
want to prove my worth.
I want to show that my word means something.
Right.
You know, I said I was serious. I said I was motivated, so I'm gonna do this.
Take me seriously,
And
people.
incidentally, Josiah helped with that
Mhm.
because I was asking him for tips on memorization and stuff because, you know, memorization is a hard thing to do, especially if you don't know what you're doing.
So you guys, I'm not gonna get too personal when I say this, but Anthony went so like extreme with he went to certain lengths where he was able to like make sure that he looked younger for it, so he could prepare for his character's role. He did things where he shaved and he made sure to dress properly, get certain jeans. Of course, that didn't turn out well. But in spite of all
Not much
that,
happened.
not
in
much
some of
really
that.
happened. But the fact of the matter is, this guy showed that and I'm just telling you because you're my friend, bro. Like you care about acting,
I
and
do care.
you take pride into making sure that it's not going to also be perfect, but enough to where you show that you can succeed at it and you can accomplish conquering a feat.
And if you guys ever know why me and Josiah we talk so we talk very well of Alan Bomar, it's because of stuff like that.
Yes.
He doesn't hold back sometimes, and that's a good thing.
Yes.
That's a very good thing.
Oh yes.
And you know, I didn't always have that work ethic. In high school, I didn't have much work ethic at all when it came to necessarily my parts or schoolwork at all. It was only when I got into college when I started to feel more freedom and more ability for me to do things. I finally had the space to do the things I wanted to do because at my house, I just felt limited. And there was so much stuff always happening at my house. It was hard for me to focus and hard for me to care that much.
Too many distractions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like so to your point about Alan Bomar just being a great teacher, and one reason why we praise him so much is because he's not gonna hold back on his criticism, for one.
No.
When he gives you criticism, it's because he wants to see you improve. He's not looking to give you criticism by the point of just being harsh and brutally honest and hurt your feelings to where you don't ever want to pursue acting again. It's more about you having to take feedback like very well and really apply yourself. And I remember I was preparing for a scene in his class. I want to say probably early in the semester, in 2022, where I was going to perform with two other girls, and they're in the same scene. I forget. I think it's called Becky Shaw. I'll never forget it. And I play a character named Max. I'm black. I don't play people with white names, but you know what I'm saying. But I'm joking though. I'm joking. Anyone can play a certain character with a certain name. You just got prove it. But anyways,
character.
Huh?
You did play the character.
I did play the character.
Yeah.
Right. So in preparation for it, I remember we had to go over. You have done this before, where you do scenes and y'all have to go over like week to week, or I think sometimes in days of rehearsal.
Sure.
And you have to read from your script.
Yeah.
And when you're reading your script, a lot of times Alan he's cool with that for right about now, but at some point he's going to tell you it's best to just go over your lines and have them fully memorized. Now, in doing so, when I came towards the second time I entered in my class, I want to say that same week, I didn't go about memorizing my lines because I still couldn't fully remember, so I kept having my paper. But boy, when I tell you, by that third day, when I came into rehearsal for preparation in my scene, before we actually fully prepared, we performed our scene during a certain day that we had scheduled. The third day, I did it without memorizing my lines in terms of having a paper in my hands. I just did it with just memorizing it off the top of my dome, my head. And I remember after class was over, he took me aside and he pulled me aside and he told me, that was great. And you know what was the one thing you did that your other classmates did not do in terms of the scene that you're preparing for? You didn't have to read a script. You took my lessons to heart. You took what I taught you, and you took into account of what to do, you know what I'm saying, and prepare yourself and study and practice. And keep in mind, you guys, I know it sounds cliche, but practice does make perfect. If you don't apply that practice, you're not going to do well. You're going to fail, or you might stumble and get nervous and get in your own head. And it happens, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're all learning. We're all going through a full learning curve. But as time goes on, you should prepare yourself and appreciate feedback when it's needed.
For memorization and stuff, maybe you'd like to be the one to explain it, because I think it's important for us to
Sure.
tell. This can be helpful for any number of things, whether it's presenting in front of people, whether it's, just trying to talk to people, and maybe you need to have some idea of what's in your head, whatever. But especially for line memorization for plays and stuff, this can be helpful. Maybe you want to talk about it?
Yeah, it's kind of like cutting the fat. And just roll with me right quick. I'm using this analogy.
Well,
Cutting
this isn't the
fat.
analogy I heard. Go ahead.
It's like cutting the fat, taking some words out that even though they're scripted, it's not that we're saying the playwrights who wrote the plays and had those lines scripted for characters, we're gonna take away from what they have done. But
Well,
go ahead, bro.
interestingly enough, that's not at all where I thought you were going with this.
Not exactly, but I want to explain
I
that.
actually agree to learning word for word, which is very difficult, but
Yes.
I think it's well worth the attempts.
So basically, what Anthony is getting at, you guys, is that when you go about memorization, you have to like literally practice your lines, get them remembered to the point where you already have them down pat. Like you don't need to
over and over and over again.
Yes.
And the reason why it's important, like the ways you can learn it and stuff, is by learning how to say it. Trying to put emphasis on different words, trying to think about what your character is thinking.
Imagine
at that
where
moment.
you're at.
All of that stuff, you're imagining it in your head. You're imagining how it looks in your head, and you're doing that in person.
Yep.
All of that makes it so that you will have to do it over and over and over again to get it right anyway, let alone the line memorization.
Yeah.
Because that's another piece of it, is just getting it right.
Yeah. It can be pressuring, but when you go about doing so, like we were both, I think, I'm not quite sure how it was for you, but I was brought in his class to prepare for 2 monologues. I had to remember 2 monologues to prepare for. It was a comedy monologue and it was a dramatic monologue, and they were fun. They were great at what they were able to tell me. There are some things you can't do, of course, that he'll tell you as well. But I remember going to, I think it was a dramatic monologue that I had prepared for. It was from August Wilson's Gem of the Ocean. I played a guy named Citizen Barlow.
August Wilson is a very good writer.
Great playwright.
Yeah,
Great.
great
May he rest in peace. God rest his soul. He wrote Gem of the Ocean. He wrote some other things like Fences, of course, with Denzel was in that.
I hear it's fantastic. I haven't seen it myself, though.
I'm telling you, man, like Viola Davis. Shout out to you, girl. But I remember in Gem of the Ocean, I was trying to channel. I asked him for permission on this too, Alan Bomar. I said, "Sir, could I try to talk in a different accent, because this character's from the South, and if I'm going to be talking from somebody who's from Alabama, I gotta talk a little country. You know what I'm saying? Gotta switch up my voice and sound different with my inflection." So, I remember in playing that role, he was liking it, but what you'll learn in monologues is that when you're performing them, you can't go over a minute. You can't sometimes go over 2 minutes, not even let alone 3 minutes. You gotta be short and sweet. And sometimes what I mean by cutting the fat, you gotta take out certain words that in context might not make sense when it comes to the story.
Oh.
You
So
see what I'm
you're
saying?
talking about monologues in general.
Yes.
And that's for cutting it down so that you have a monologue that will fit your time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, there's only typically the last one I did, you only had about 1 minute.
Yeah.
I had about 1 minute. And you had to cut out so much stuff, and you just have to make those sacrifices. It seems like it's taking away from the monologue and stuff.
Yeah.
But the idea is that you're portraying, the idea and the feeling and the moment. You're portraying the moment, and that with all those extra words and stuff, they seem important, and they kind of are.
They are. They really are.
But you need to just pick out the basic feeling and emotion and all that stuff from the scene.
Yeah.
In order to make it the right time.
Yeah.
It feels like a waste, and it feels like it doesn't feel good. but it works out in the end.
Yeah, and Alan is like one of those. He'll time you as well to make sure you're not going over it. So a lot of times in keeping it when it comes to the preparation for Anthony here, it was I had to tell Anthony, bro, you got to cut some of these words out because it's going over it. You got to do it, bro. Like, and he was like, man, but why? Like, why I got to do that? And I'm like, bro, I'll explain why after. And then afterwards, he was able to get it. And it helped him not only better memorize his words, he did so well that, like, what did Alan Bomar tell you?
I don't remember, but he was quite pleased with it.
So
he said, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
He said, because he said all that stuff about me, potentially not being so serious, and what he said was, well, you shut me up. So,
and that was like essentially him telling him like, yeah, I was proved wrong. I was proved wrong. I was wrong about you, Anthony. I thought you didn't measure up to a certain...
felt very nice to finally get some of that back. So
Alan Bomar, I know we talk about you a lot, but we love you, bro. We got to move on, though.
All right. But anyway, Josiah, have you gotten any like other influences or things that you keep up with that help with acting, or maybe just tune into?
Yeah, so I tune into The Crew Has It. Shout out to you, Mike Rain Jr. and Gianni Paolo.
Does that help with acting, by the way? Just listening to all the stuff they talk about?
Yes, bro. Yeah. It's not only informative about acting, it's it's quite entertaining. And they're both funny. They have great chemistry. It's like they mesh well. And you would think that seeing characters on a TV show that portray themselves as their characters, you would think that outside their acting, they're not close. Not too many. I don't know how show business works, but when it comes to business, I don't think everyone always gets along with their co-workers when it comes to doing acting and movies or television shows. But they are super close. They're like brothers almost. And I feel like they have great guests. They bring in guests from the show. I think it's called Power. I know it's called Power. And they have different spinoffs from the show. So they bring in other characters. Other actors who are in the other Power spinoffs. One of the actors that was in the original Power was a guy named Enrique Murciano. And he plays this guy named Felipe Lobos. Now, Felipe Lobos, for those who are Power fans, we know he's a homosexual Mexican drug trafficker and one of the main antagonists of the show. He was the kind of guy that just didn't care. He just did what he wanted to, and was kind of like, notoriously dangerous in a sense. But the guy who portrays him is the exact opposite. And he talked about going into doing a monologue, or I think for an audition he prepared for. He had got done eating at a restaurant. And he saw every other actor try to go about their auditions. And there was a scene where basically you had to go, tell my mom I loved her and that I will be somewhere else, or yada yada. It's kind of, I'm paraphrasing, but tell my mom I loved her and I'm about ready to die. Like, yeah, something like that. Like, it's really emotional and whatnot. So he tells a story about like, he saw everyone do theirs, and everyone was doing the cliche, I'm crying, like fake crying and what like that. And he saw everybody do theirs. And when it came for his time, bro went into it and choked on some ketchup packet. He choked on the ketchup packet and was like, tell my mother I love her. Like, I really love and he's coughing, bro. And I'm like, that is insane. And all the while he's telling this story, bro, Michael and Gianni are crying in tears, bro. They're crying. They're not crying in tears. They're laughing in tears, bro. And it was just so like funny, hilarious. But it just goes to show you, like, when it comes to doing acting, you can do whatever. You can play pretend, but also keep in mind you have to sometimes go for a risk. Take a risk, man. And if you really care about the craft, why not? I wouldn't say like, have a real gun or anything like that and shoot yourself towards the knee and then be like, yeah, I'm busted up. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. That's insane.
Will say, I think I remember hearing a interview with Leonardo DiCaprio saying like when he was a kid there was another kid that brought a gun to an audition. Maybe don't, but that is a story.
Right, he sure did.
Yeah,
He sure did.
yeah.
He talked about how he screamed. I think, wait, did he scream in Robert De Niro's face? Or was it?
Yeah, because he was getting ready for an audition. I don't remember if we talked about this, but he was it was like callbacks or whatever, and it was
Mhm.
down to like a few kids. One of them was
Yeah.
actually Tobey Maguire, right?
Really?
What
Is
right?
Tobey Maguire in that?
Is it or is it? It's the first Spider-Man. Is that Tobey Maguire?
Yes, he's first Spider-Man. Yes.
It was
That's
for A Boy's
crazy.
Life. And
Wow.
apparently there was like the scene where Robert De Niro, who's playing the dad, is like shoving a jar in the kid's eye or something, and well, he keeps hitting the kid's eye with the jar, and he's like, "What do you see? Do you see what's in it? Do you see what's in it?"
Wow.
Or I don't remember what he said, but Leonardo just screamed, "Yeah!" or "No!" It's bad.
It was This Boy's Life, right? That's
yeah.
the movie?
I am butchering
movie.
I am butchering the story, but if you want to look it up, it was Leonardo DiCaprio's interview after I believe it was The Wolf of Wall Street.
Nice.
So,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Classic, man.
Mm.
Love Leonardo DiCaprio, bro. Great actor. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite actors ever. He's just great.
hmm
Mm.
What's your favorite Leonardo DiCaprio film?
Well,
Can you
how about you
like
start?
pinpoint with that? Obviously, if it's a woman, I could be wrong about this because people look at him as a heartthrob. Perhaps maybe people will cite out Titanic or something.
Titanic.
But I wouldn't say Titanic is.
Titanic was a really
It
good
was a
movie.
great film, but I don't think it's his best.
I liked Titanic when it wasn't a sinking ship. So those are the parts I
Yeah.
liked about Titanic.
Yeah, but is it Kate Winslet? Was she the actress that played his love interest in the film?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. But let me see. And he did do Romeo and Juliet. I forgot about that.
That's pretty good.
Right. I think for me, it's
Did
tough.
Gatsby? He did. Oh god! Ignore my yawning. He did Gatsby. He did. Shoot.
I would say it was between Catch Me If You Can,
Catch Me If
because
You Can is
it's a classic when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Of course, J. Edgar or
J.
Edgar
Edgar is
is it
pretty good.
J. Edgar? Yep. Okay.
Mhm.
And then I say Wolf of Wall Street. I don't know
Wolf
which
of Wall
one is
Street.
his best.
Wolf of Wall Street's definitely
Man.
like top something.
Yeah. And plus, it got me introduced to Margaret Robbie, the beautiful actress.
Uh-huh.
I know she's Australian, but hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? Come on, you give us some African American culture. You know what I mean? Like,
Bruh.
I'll be right here. But nah, let me see. I don't know if I have me one when it comes to Leonardo
No.
DiCaprio now.
It's hard to
I don't
do
even know why I asked the
with
question.
big actors and stuff because they just make like bangers. Leonardo
Man.
DiCaprio makes bangers.
Bro.
I don't remember any. Has he been in bad movies? I don't remember. He usually picks out pretty good ones. I know people
No, but
debate
I'm
against
sure
Gatsby, but here's my thing with Gatsby.
Yeah.
I think the people that don't like Gatsby are the people that wouldn't like The Great Gatsby, the book in general.
We know it's
So-
someone that criticized Tobey Maguire's portrayal.
I liked Tobey Maguire in Gatsby. Fight me.
Fight
All
me
right.
too.
Yeah.
Fight me. I'll meet you in the MMA. The MMA. I said the M&A.
I'll meet you
The-
online in the comments.
I meant the. Let me stop. I
Uh,
meant the octagon, the
the
MMA
octagon?
octagon. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'll fight, and I'll fight you, and I'll fight me too. But instead of fighting, we're going to talk about some gripes.
Gripes?
Some gripes I think we have, and
All right.
I think.
But
So, what are some of the things that annoys you that you see other actors do? We're not gonna name names, of course, but things that you like to see improve and change over time.
well, I hate it when Mark I don't know a
Hey,
Mark.
Mark is a fake name. You
I don't know
guys.
a Mark.
You know,
Or do
non-disclaimer.
I? But
Non-disclosure, I mean.
when I so something, Alan Bomar talks about this too. When an actor goes like, when they make it clear that they don't know a line, because the audience will not know until you show them that you don't know a line. So at least like fake it or improv.
Yes.
When they go or sorry or something like that, where it's obvious that's not what the character would have said at that time.
Mm-hmm.
No, bad. Don't do that. It takes people out of the scene It's not.
What's
It,
your critique again?
huh?
What's your critique again?
When people like obviously forgot their lines and didn't
Okay.
or their line and like go or sorry or whatever.
Don't do
They
that.
give an
Oh,
indicator that they forgot their line, and that's like deadly. Don't do
that
that.
gets off my nerves. And to me, don't get me wrong. I understand. Like, it takes a lot of like, what's the word? Like brain memory. You know what I'm saying? To
Brain
refocus.
memory.
Is it brain memory? I forget. Or
What you mean?
focus. It's a certain type of memory I'm thinking of, but I can't.
Maybe
really.
just go into what you're talking about.
Yeah, but anyways, my point I'm trying to point is it's like muscle memory. That's what I meant. Muscle memory.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of times you can struggle with that. So I do get it in some terms. But the one thing, and even Alan Bomar has even told us, I know we said Alan Bomar a lot of you guys. I apologize. But
Alan Bomar.
Alan Bomar.
He's got a fun name.
Right. But I will say one of the things he did teach us the value is do not acknowledge, I'm sorry, I've messed up. I did not do well. Can I go about that over again? If you do it multiple times, at some point you're gonna be told you gotta stop. You gotta stop.
For
And that it alone within
That's
itself,
embarrassing.
yes, you
Yeah.
read my mind. Like you read my mind. Like that is embarrassing, and it's ridiculous to even see that sometimes happen. It's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Not everyone's going to typically do too well when it comes to acting, but if you take it serious, if you want to perfect your craft, if you want to get better, practice. It's simple. Just practice.
For sure. Like I said, or like Josiah said to me, keep going over it, putting emphasis on different words, learning how to say it, figuring out how to say it, thinking about it, live it.
Yeah.
Living it is a big thing,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Have a recording of it. Have it play while you're in the car. Start writing it down. Start writing it on the wall. Start becoming a crazy man that can't stop like writing it down.
Yup. Paint some
Out
pictures.
of memory, mind you. Out of memory. So
And don't break out character.
don't do that.
Don't do that. No.
That's awful.
No.
Josiah, you have a story.
I do have a story about that. And it was over at Improv.
Yeah.
And I remember it was me and he shall not be named. And Alan had us go off our improv, and I think my character was that basically the setting was we were in school.
Yeah.
And he was doing well for his life. He's trying to befriend me and whatever have you. And I'm going through it at home. My parents are not doing well. I'm just hating life, basically. So while we're in the midst of the improv, I don't say nothing. My face, so my facial expressions, I love selling my facial expressions because they tell a story. And so when I am sitting in the chair, I'm not engaging with him at first. He's questioning me. He's asking me, what am I writing or stuff? And I keep looking, and then I look off. Keep looking, and then I look off. And I don't say anything. And we're going, and we're going, and we're doing pretty well. Up until the point where someone from the audience, one of our classmates, it was a girl, she sneezed. But the way she sneezed, it was a little funny. But I had enough wherewithal to not laugh, to not break character, to not do anything. Instead, he did.
Yeah.
And so you're not supposed to do that. And I remember Alan, I think, gave him a little talking, but it wasn't it was very brief. It wasn't long, but it was just simply put, don't ever do that again. Don't break character or break the fourth wall, as we must say in acting.
Practice makes permanence. You do not want to do that during a performance.
Mm-mm.
So make sure you're doing it. Make sure you're focused during rehearsal. Something that eggs me on a bit is some of my colleagues. I'll call them colleagues. I don't know if that's proper, but peers. Some of them will sometimes, maybe not take the rehearsals as seriously as they would the performance, and that eggs me on.
Oh,
I'll be like, for my role, I have to wear like this gown and whatever, and the other two people, they won't wear their gowns, but I wore it every time ever since they got it there.
yes.
And I just did it to build a character and stuff. They didn't do it, and it's a small thing, but it feels to me like it makes a difference because it shows your attitude on it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Another thing, too, when I'm receiving feedback, don't take it personal. as an actor or an actress, you should not take what is being said to you personally, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you're obligated to play, yes, a pretend character, but you're also putting yourself in their shoes. So when you go about receiving feedback of, okay, for instance, if you're being called out for, I don't want to push the the agenda or anything, like at the end of the day, how I feel about my love, but it's like, if you're someone who is gay or trans, you shouldn't call into, oh, it's because I'm this or because I'm that I can't do well because he criticized me for doing this or channeling my voice a different tone or blah blah blah. There's nothing against you personally. It's just something about measuring up in a way where you're set out to do well from your being received the feedback. I would say it's kind of hard for me to describe that.
Yeah, a way to describe it is typecasting. People
It
don't like
is.
to admit it, but they do fit certain roles.
Yeah,
And it's based on what they look like, what they sound like,
Yes.
all that sort of stuff.
or
And
call them
sometimes,
through race.
yeah, sometimes people don't like that idea. However, it's not about what you identify. It's about what your presence is, what you feel like.
Yeah.
And those are the type of questions you have to ask yourself to understand what type of roles you'll get.
Yeah.
People can get roles, but if they do not accept what they naturally have, that could work for them for the
Yep.
certain roles and stuff. Alan Bomar, he's able to be a judge. He's able to be
Yes.
like maybe like a chief of police. He's able to be like a preacher,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Right.
But he's not able to be let's say an 18-year-old kid. You know what I'm saying?
right.
He's not able to be
Right.
like
Right.
certain things that he just couldn't be.
Yeah. And it has to fit.
And
it has
it's
to go
not
about that.
it's not anything personal. It just wouldn't work.
You're not being attacked, guys. You're not being
No.
attacked. I'm telling you. And it's also to keep in mind about this too. Acting will highlight your strengths and weaknesses based on role considerations you may go for. So keep an open mind. Be optimistic. Even if you're turned down, it's not the end all be all.
Yeah, when it comes to
Yeah.
directors and stuff, they're looking for specific things, and
Right.
they won't turn you down because you aren't necessarily a good actor. You could be a very good actor or actress or
Tremendous.
whatever, but it won't necessarily be that. It's just that wasn't what they were looking for. So
Yeah.
don't take it to heart.
Yeah.
Just keep going at it
Keep
and
doing well for yourself, bro.
let things bounce off.
All
All right?
right.
Because when it comes to things like that, you just have to.
You ready to wrap up, bro?
Yeah.
All right.
You want to?
Yeah, so
Okay.
for those that follow us on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, share, and reviews, put your minds out there. And for the King Light Podcast to listen on from different platforms, go towards Spotify, Apple Podcasts, I say Deezer, Amazon, whatever. I say
Hope
Google
we're on
Podcasts
Deezer.
too. Huh?
Hope we're on Deezer. I
I
think
hope
so.
we're on Deezer too.
All
Right, really. Come on, Anchor FM. But but yeah, check us out. And yeah, man, King Life, we love you guys, and we are out.
See you guys.